Hey everyone, it's the Koopa Man. I have, since my channel started, always been outspoken against pointless negativity and needless nitpicking. To the point that my very first serious video essay was myself and Tracy Krieg talking about it, or as we called it, critic culture. The idea that everyone was critical of everything. But over time, with my permanent banning from Twitter for defending a video game from libelous accusation having occurred, I realize now that I was wrong. Not to call it out, no. I am not going to let a bunch of jackasses change my views so lightly. I was wrong about the root of the issue. For you see, dear viewer, the issue is not critic culture, but instead, negativity culture. What do I mean by this? Negativity culture, to put it mildly, is a mentality derived around trying to pick out the flaws in everything, to look gift horses square in the mouth, and to find clouds in every silver lining. And it comes in all varieties, both from the far leftists with feminists and race hustlers trying to find sexism and racism everywhere, and in anti-woke culture warriordom in the endless search for woke and Israeli influence in every new piece of media announced. We currently live in an era where everyone is searching for whatever grievance they can pick out of any piece of media, no matter how small, so they can complain about it to their followers on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, 4chan, Reddit, Stormfront, you name it. And all those websites are guilty in fostering such a toxic mentality when it comes to media consumption by encouraging groupthink and echo chamber mentalities, and by allowing dissenters to be drowned out, ostracized, or even banned. Like how I was banned from Twitter for telling the truth that James Bond First Light wasn't some Zionist plot to kill all white babies. Yes, I'm still angry about that, can't you tell? But because of that negativity culture, you can't be outwardly positive about anything, lest you be called indoctrinated by people who genuinely believe that Israel is the reason they still live in their mother's basement. Because it's like what Anita said.
Everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
The reason Anita says this, and her equal and opposites like Grums, John Delarose, or Mongisberg say something very similar, is because when you are a preacher of negativity, your very brand hinges on everything being a problem. Therefore, you must find the flaw in everything. And where does that lead? To your followers constantly looking for flaws that they lose focus on anything besides pointing it all out. And that is just sad. We have discussed numerous times about the grifter machine that creates this negativity culture, so I won't retread that ground. Instead, let's focus on the culture that it creates. Needless to say, it's miserable, full of people who are constantly trying to find the racism or the wokeness or whatever the pet issue is, and because of that, they are unable to truly enjoy things based on their own merits. I have met people in the past who refuse to watch any Quentin Tarantino movies because they believe he is racist for having the N-word used a lot in his movies. Therefore, they don't want to contribute to that racism by watching his films. Likewise, I've encountered a few who call him a Zionist shill who promotes non-whiteness because a lot of his films star non-white characters, and they refuse to watch for that reason. The result is the same regardless of the grievance, and yet they cannot comprehend that either group is acting exactly like each other. This is what's called purity testing, at least when it comes to media. It can also be done to people. Say something the crowd doesn't like, and you're suddenly branded an enemy and a heretic, which again, happened to me. I mean, I have people who celebrated my banning on Twitter, for fuck's sake. And it happens to many like me who refuse to take shit from cultists, because that's what it is, cult mentality. They get their perceived wisdom from snake oil slinging preachers who fleece the flock for all their worth, and the true believers enforce the stuff the hustlers make up, so they cannot be criticized. It's a practice as old as faith healing or televangelism. The cult enforces itself, and the only beneficiaries are the cult leaders. Of course, that brings up the question, why is negativity culture so strong if it is also so toxic? Sure, faith healing has similar mindsets, but largely comes from misinterpreted scripture and concepts of faith in God. And there is the prosperity gospel like Joel Osteen, which is all about empowerment and positivity that God gives us, but it doesn't have the same pull of the fire and brimstone firebranding, does it? The idea that the world is totally corrupt and full of the devil's influence coming after you at all times. And that's the whole draw. Fear is the mind killer. So if the preachers like Anita and Grums convince their flock they are fighting against a legitimate evil like sexism or wokeness, and that they are being confronted by the demonic system at all times, patriarchy or the leftist institutions, they give off an air of being righteous demon hunters their followers can depend on, which causes the followers to keep coming back for more. Like a junkie who gets his first fix for free. Except instead of being crashed out in Skid Row with a needle in their arm, these junkies are on social media fighting proverbial holy war crusades against the enemies of their chosen demon hunter. Be they a leftist, an anti-woke warrior, a fire and brimstone preacher, or even an Islamic radical. And we know how extreme those guys can get. Yeah, while this is an extreme example, this is by no means me trying to make light of 9/11, but the machine that manufactured that attack is made of a lot of the same parts. Sure, I doubt the followers of Grums, Anita, What the Egad, or Spoon are going to fly planes into buildings anytime soon. Well, Spoons might go shoot up grocery stores in the name of racial purity, but then we'll get the mugshot and it'll show a brown Mexican, but you get the idea. The same concept of radicalization is at play. It's the same cult-like behavior, the same cult-like structure, and the same cult-like mentality, though a lot of the major consequences are always self-inflicted. Imagine waking up every morning feeling compelled to scroll for hours on social media, seeing demons everywhere you turn. You begin to feel isolated from normal society, or the normies as you're now obligated to call them. The irony is that you look down upon them now. They do not know the truth, TM, that you know. And doing normal things anymore? Forget it. Movies are full of demonic influences, if not outright made by a demonic system to begin with. Same with television and video games. Going out to the bar feels like a waste of time, if not an outright surrender to the enemy. And you can forget about having friends or normal hobbies. Those are just distractions from the true cause, furthering the crusade against the enemy. And that's all it's ever about. The simple pleasures of walking your dog, grabbing a pint with your mates, going out to the theater, buying the new hit video game, even the simple feeling of the sun on your face and the breeze in your hair, the gentle touch of grass, they all become alien to you, like there's some sort of ploy by your enemies to get you, and that is no way to live your life. The problem with negativity culture is that it's all-consuming. It's an addiction that attacks the mind and harms the soul. People caught up in it can no longer feel the human experience anymore, and become dedicated just to propagating the culture further. Misery loves company, after all, and like I said before, the only people who stand to gain are the ones at the very top of the pyramid, the grifters, who need no further elaboration, as I've made more videos than I can shake a stick at going into that aspect. Be sure to check out my channel to see more. And like with most toxic things, the only winning move is not to play. If you refuse to engage with the negativity hustlers and their followers, you take away all the power that negativity culture even has. And that's really how it should be. Does this mean that all the things they say is bad are good? No. The Star Wars sequels are still a dumpster fire. Avatar still wants me to cheer for the death of the human race, and Pokemon Sword and Shield just are not very good games. But I am not gonna call those things racist, or woke, or demonic, or anything of the sort. You should engage with things on their own merits, and to use such labels is taking away from the actual flaws within those pieces of media. Bad storytelling, bad writing, bad characters, bad gameplay, bad graphics, or just overall bad. All in all, think for yourselves. You're all individuals. Most people are intelligent enough to call out the flaws where they are and identify problems without resorting to name-calling and conspiracy pushing. And that's what separates the human being from the mindless masses. Call it out for what it is and give everything its fair shake. The good and the bad will identify themselves for you. You don't need anyone else to tell you what to think or how to think about any piece of media. But that's all. Hopefully I got my point across, as this has become a very exhausting problem. This has been the Koopa Man. If you like this video, leave a like and subscribe, as it helps my channel grow. Leave a comment about how tired you are of the negativity culture that seems to permeate all social media, and let's make the world know we choose not to be a part of that noise. And until next time, game on.